Hello and welcome to the Greater Springfield Business Connect podcast, or as we're calling it, the GSBC. This podcast is proudly brought to you by the Greater Springfield Chamber of Commerce and proudly powered by Purple Bunny Marketing. I'm your host, Matt Taylor Farrington, and from Purple Bunny Marketing, and today we're chatting with Martin from BizGuard. We're going to talk about everything serious around cybersecurity, although you like to have a giggle and a laugh and make it fun, so I'm sure this podcast is going to be interesting. All right, let's get straight into it. Every small business, obviously, it suffers from IT issues, and so they always want that IT superhero that can come in and take care of it. So I guess, how does BizGuard swoop in to save the day and, you know, take care of those gremlins when they happen?
Well, it's my fault for putting a superhero on the homepage, I guess. But
Yes.
look, if we're going to frame BizGuard as a superhero, it kind of helps to start with the origin story, right? Because every superhero's got to have a cool origin story.
Yes.
I can't promise it's a cool one, but this one starts with me swearing to never start another IT company. So I guess to give the brief history, I've been in the IT industry for 25 years, which feels like a lifetime, and I've seen and done just about everything you can imagine. And when I exited my last business, I was like, that's it, I'm done now.
Yep.
And I looked around and tried, maybe I should start building an app or do something in AI because that's cool and funky. And in the end, I just kind of went, you know what, actually, I think there's still more to do here. I think I haven't quite finished what I want to be doing in the IT space. And really, what I wanted to do was solve the problem of small business, because small business IT is something I'd always struggled with. Every time a business grows up in the IT space, they start involuntarily, usually neglecting their small business clients. And as a result of that, it means that people get underserviced or overcharged because now they're dealing with bigger clients and the small ones kind of fall by the wayside. And I thought there has to be a way to solve this. And I didn't see a whole lot of providers operating at scale really focused on the small business owner market.
Yes.
And so I thought, well, what is that going to look like? And really where the whole superhero concept came from was actually that I realized the greatest problem in servicing small businesses was they don't really need IT support first and foremost. What they need nowadays is cybersecurity. So I had a lot of friends in the small business space, and I used them as a little bit of a test bed and a focus group. And everyone was like, yes, cybersecurity, it's really important. And so I built this offering, and I thought it was pretty cool. And I came back, and they all kind of liked the look of it. And I showed them the price point, and they all kind of went, not so sure.
Yes.
But pretty much one by one, they all called me and said, hey, that cyber thing's pretty cool, but could you just do our IT support to start with?
Yes.
And I thought, all right, hang on. Maybe I do just need to start another IT company, but let's make it a cyber-focused IT company. So we are a few different things to different people, but first and foremost, we are a cybersecurity and IT support provider. Some people just use us for the cyber, some people just use us for the IT bit, but usually it's both.
Yes.
And that's really where the whole superhero aspect comes in, is that we've got people's backs, whether we're talking to them at the time or not. We have a small monthly fee. We cover their cybersecurity needs, and it just incentivizes us to always be watching after what's going on.
Yeah, agreed. It's amazing. We've just jump shipped, got you on board to help. I was kind of pretending to be an IT pseudo person whilst doing marketing. So
that's all right. I won't mention to anybody what I found when I onboarded you.
Yes, please don't. All right. So obviously, we did just talk about the fact that cyber is the highest focus for you. With cyber attacks obviously on the rise, and we are seeing it more and more. I know my inbox, I look at it and go, yeah, sure. How does BizGuard's cybersecurity team kind of ninja-proof our business systems?
The word systems is actually really interesting, and I want to double-click on that one for just a second, because the prevailing wisdom with cybersecurity, and again, it comes from the enterprise and corporate market, is that systems are really the most important thing to protect. But there's a whole aspect of cybersecurity that people kind of fail to grasp, even in the industry. And it's a failing of our industry, I think, in that we frame people as a risk. We see people risk management, human risk management, as being this discipline where how do we minimize the risk that staff pose to our business?
Yes.
And while there is some element of truth to that, if someone's trying to be malicious or malevolent, usually they're not, right? So why call it a risk? Because what they actually are is a vulnerability.
Yes.
And it's a vulnerability that requires protection. It requires somebody to actually help people to upskill and to improve their habits so that they don't expose the business. And so, ultimately from our perspective, yes, securing the systems is important, but most small businesses don't have that many systems.
Yes.
So it's really, really easy to get that part done because, from a tech perspective, that's not that difficult. It's really now we turn our attention to how do we protect the vulnerable people who are working in that business and the owner of the business, and how do we protect them against the cyber threats that are out there? Yeah,
agreed. All right. Obviously, we may have covered that off just a little bit, but what do you think is the key to minimising the risk around cybersecurity?
So I'm going to dimension this a little bit differently. There's a concept in cybersecurity called defense in depth, and that's been a thing for a long time. But what that basically refers to is that much like a bulletproof vest has multiple layers, cybersecurity has to have multiple layers as well, because there is no single product you can buy or service you can subscribe to that, hey, now I pay this thing and I'm 100% safe, right?
Yes.
That doesn't exist. But what we have been able to do is take a bunch of those different things that provide those different layers of protection and create a blended offering that includes all of those different things. So it's not 100% bulletproof, but it's the only way to really, shield yourself in an effective way is to cover off those different angles of attack.
Yes, agreed. All right, so let's say I've got BizGuard in, or you're looking after my IT and protecting things. What happens though if one of my vulnerabilities clicks on that link? I'm learning the lingo. Yeah, and what happens if they click on that dodgy link? What would happen? How would BizGuard save the day?
So I'll actually share a story for that one.
Yes.
So this happened a couple of weeks ago. About a month ago, a client of ours actually found themselves in that exact position. So what happened is she owns a small NDIS business. It's obviously dealing with a lot of sensitive data, and she was actually super distracted at the time, which is usually how it happens. She was about to walk into her son's graduation ceremony, and she's kind of standing out the front, quickly getting an email off, as you do when you're a business owner. No one's going in yet, all good. And then she got an email through that said it had a court document attached, and she was waiting for a court document to come through. So really nasty coincidence, right?
Yes.
Didn't bother to check. It said US court, not Australian court. Like it just said court document. She's like, oh, this is the thing I've been waiting for. Tapped on it really quickly, takes her to a 365 logon prompt on her mobile device, right? Her personal phone that has minimal protection on it.
Yeah.
That's how they get you. And then she's putting in username, password, multi-factor, and it gives an error. And that's where she's like, oh, I've got to go into the graduation, lock my phone, stick it in my pocket, away we go. So fast forward the clock 20 minutes, this comes onto our radar because we suddenly get a ping from our security operations center saying we've disabled this account due to a suspicious login.
Yes.
And so, we have a look at the logs of what that login included, and it was definitely suspicious, so they did the right thing.
Yes.
And part of the remediation process is obviously we try to call the person first, say, hey, you've just been locked out, here's why. Couldn't get a hold of her, called her offsider, yep, not available, definitely a hack, okay, great. And then we just basically go through and clean the account. So there's a lot of different tricks hackers will use to try to maintain what's called persistence, which is where they can stay having access to your data or your email even after you've locked out the account. And we look for all of those different things. We do an audit log check to see if they got into anything. Now, they had access for 20 minutes to that account between when it very first got breached and when our security operations center pressed the big red button.
Yep.
That's plenty of time for a whole lot of damage to get done, but fortunately in this case, nothing went wrong.
Yes.
So we checked the audit log. There was actually zero access of files or emails during that time. Thankfully, that was all good. We just cleaned it all up and reset the password, reset her MFA, and away she goes when she's back online again. So what's really interesting, though, is if you imagine what could have happened if that hadn't been picked up, they could have potentially had access quietly in the background, unbeknownst to them, for weeks or months, as sometimes happens, while they're just kind of lurking, watching for an opportunity to defraud you.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. It's quite scary to understand what they could get access to. I know in our business, the amount of documents we have and information we have, it's quite scary to know that if we didn't have that layer of protection there, that what could happen, I guess.
Yep.
And I guess, as you've been saying to me over the last week, it's better to be blocked than and find out that it is a legitimate source than to not, I guess, and be on the safe side rather than just allowing everything through and then going, oh no, something's been done.
There's a little saying in the industry that you have to be right every time, but the hacker only has to be right once.
Yes, actually, I remember you saying that the other morning at breakfast and thought that was quite clever. So, all right. So running a business is obviously stressful enough. How does BizGuard make sure that IT just works without us needing to Google, why isn't the printer connecting? And I know you said, no, you don't want to do IT anymore, but all those simple things that we all just hate, or we go print and the printer stops working, or, you go to a site
absolutely.
and it stops. Yeah. So how does BizGuard make sure that our IT just works?
So I can't comment on how after about 50 years of printing, we still can't get that right. That's not for me to answer.
It's my biggest frustration in the office.
Yeah, you and pretty much everybody else. Look, there's obviously, choosing the right printer is part of it.
Yes.
But look, I think in principle, the funny thing that I've discovered is that we are actually doing less IT support for clients after they're onboarded. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I wasn't expecting in starting this business is that when we do onboard a new client, there's a flurry of IT work that needs to be done, and there's typically historical issues, and then people come out of the woodwork and go, oh, by the way, while you're here, can you look at this thing? But once we kind of take care of that after the first 2 or 3 months, typically things settle. And then I discovered that we actually start getting very few phone calls after a while. And I had clients commenting saying, oh, we've never had so few issues. What are you guys doing? And I couldn't kind of figure it out because aside from like proactively maintaining someone's Microsoft, for example, like we don't really do a whole lot of IT stuff in the background. And what I realized is happening is that we've helped clients, especially small business owners, avoid inadvertently sabotaging themselves with poor decisions. Because now they've suddenly got somebody they can call up and they can have a 30-second conversation to ask what they think is a dumb question. And they're not going to get tagged for it, on the monthly invoice, right? They can just say, hey, I'm thinking of doing this Dropbox thing. I know I've got OneDrive already. Should I be doing that? Or am I just an idiot? And just being able to have someone go, look, it's kind of not really the way you should be doing it. And here's why. So maybe just do it this way instead. Now they've avoided going down a path that was going to lead to support headaches. So a lot of the support that we do, I mean, look, we always want to be empathetic and available, but a lot of the time we're just not even necessary anymore because less things go wrong.
Yeah, agreed. I think having, I guess, that sounding block of someone that you can go to and go, hey, I need to do this, or I've got a problem, I need to solve it, and here's what I was thinking, and kind of have that, I guess, advice about what is the right thing. You can then make a more informed decision about your IT infrastructure and what you need for your business.
Definitely, yeah.
All right, so before we wrap things up, we've heard that you've got a bit of holiday cheer for business owners with a free Christmas offer. So tell us more. What is the offer and what is it?
Okay, so a lot of people probably are running around like crazy at the moment. And I don't know about everybody else, but I swear to God that Christmas decorations appeared in shops at least 2 weeks earlier than last year.
Yeah, and like a blink
nuts.
of an eye.
Yeah, exactly.
Walked in one day, they weren't there, then they were.
100%. Yeah. So I think everybody's keen for this year to be over, right? It's like, let's bring on Christmas, let's bring on the cheer, and let's get it over with. What a lot of people don't realize is this is also silly season for hackers and scammers. And that kind of makes sense when you think about it because there's a lot of online purchasing happening. We just had Black Friday. It is a bit of a silly season for pulling out the credit card. But it also is a place where people are taking holidays and IT providers are running on skeleton crews, and there is just less help available to support you when you do get attacked, which is, of course, great for them. So as part of that, we've gotten together with one of our partners, and they're the partner who provide us with the security training content that we use with our clients as well. And we've basically got 2 sets of cybersecurity awareness training that is completely free of charge, available to anybody. So we've got it on our website. There's 2 links. One is for business owners, staff, share it with colleagues, etc. The other one is for individuals, so mums and dads and friends and family. So the training is oriented towards what those people might find relevant in their lives. But the idea is we want to help upskill everybody because the more we can do that, the less opportunity there is for hackers to abuse people.
Agreed, 100%. There we go. I worked in the 100%. I had to get it in an episode. All right. So obviously, if you are interested in that, we will put links that are legitimate in the post that you'll see, and you'll find all the information on the podcast page. All right, so thank you for tuning in. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate you coming in to have a talk about cybersecurity, something that I think every business needs to take really seriously and look at what are their options and what are they doing in that space. So thank you for tuning in to the latest episode of the GSBC. Make sure to like and follow and subscribe to keep up to date with all the things happening in the Springfield business community, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the GSBC.